First player here at the bottom right, rocking the happy star. He is our blue Terran from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is Kier.
And his opponent spawning in the top left corner of the map, playing as the red Protoss for the team of the Afrika Freaks. It is Trap.
Alright, we got ourselves a little bit of a close matchup in terms of the prediction poll. Currently, Kier is at 55%, Trap at 45%. Of course, there's still much time left on the clock to place your bets. But here we go. Realm Magicide will be our first map of the series.
Excited for this. Now, my knowledge of these two players is quite limited. From what I know, Trap is just a very solid sort of defensive style Protoss player, whereas Kier, on the other hand, is this his best matchup, if I recall correctly? I don't really recall.
I don't recall which exactly is his best matchup. I know that he's pretty solid in the TVT one. Also pretty solid in TV. I think he's kind of overall solid. I don't think there's like a glaring like weakness or glaring strongest matchup for him. If I'm incorrect, you guys can correct me in the live chat. But from what I can tell, I think he's very much like one of those players that is pretty good in all the matchups.
Right. And of course, being well-rounded is key if you want to make it to this sort of caliber of players in this very, very unforgiving game.
Alright, looks like the submarine will be searching for that probe, because you never know if the Protoss will be throwing down some sneaky proxy pylons out here. Never want
That's
that to
right.
happen.
Now, is this probe, which, wow, by the way, what a trooper. This probe is you know, scraping on by with 2 health to its name. But I don't think it's going to put down a proxy. We do see a Twilight coming down back home for Trap, but looks like that probe is just going to head on back in, see whatever scouting information it can get, or not, just going to be shooed away by that first Marine. So all in all, we have on our hands a pretty standard opener for both of our players.
Yeah, pretty standard indeed. And looks like the first adept here for Trap will be scouting in. I can't imagine he'll let that finish, and nope, he does not. He cancels that just in the nick of time. He does see the barracks with the reactor, and that doesn't really give him too much indication of what is happening. Oh, did he see that Widow Mine? That's a question.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
The shade vision is, of course, smaller than the actual unit vision, but it's still possible. It is possible.
Yeah, for sure. Either way, he does have a blink on the way, which should allow him to try to get on top of that medevac a little bit quicker and try to snipe it down before it can burrow. But even if it does burrow, the blink should allow these stalkers to kind of activate and just like blink in the nick of time.
Oh, wow. Forgive me for just noticing now, but is it just me, or is that third Nexus really, really quick? I feel like putting down a third Nexus before 4 minutes in any matchup is pretty quick, but I don't know. That seems a little bit excessive. What do you think, Snoopy?
That is indeed a little bit quicker, because you do notice that he did not go for a third gateway, and that allows him to get that extra 150 minerals for that Nexus. And the reason why he doesn't go for the third Nexus is, third gateway, is because he knows that there is no incoming huge attack. It's only going to be Widow Mines, which he can kind of micro with his stalkers. So he doesn't really need to get that third gateway to defend. And oh, does snipe that medevac with the one Widow Mine. Oh, actually, never mind. The Widow Mines did drop here.
Oh man, very nice blink micro as well, baiting that second Widow Mine shot and making it miss. Now we do see this quick double forge play. I do like it a lot, getting +1/+1 for the Protoss army. But will Trap have enough to? Oh, looks like he will be headed across the map to meet the Marines. So in any case, he will have an idea of what is going on. On Kier's side of the map, Stim just now starting for his opponent, and Engineering Bay also just about to finish. Man, sometimes I really underestimate the utility of an Adept Shade. Now, oh wow, it's actually going to complete the Shade, allowing these Stalkers to blink on up, but I don't think these Stalkers... are they going to get on out of here alive? The Adept is the first to fall. Now, will the... There we go. We do see, actually, the Raven does get picked off, and those Stalkers do get on out of there with their lives, so... Pretty decent micro from our Red Protoss so far.
Yeah, that is great, actually. Getting that first snipe on that Raven, that means no anti-armor missile during the engagement, no auto turrets, and that is a really huge relief for Trap. I mean, of course, Clear can follow up with a second Raven, but that means in the end, it still is less energy for those important spells. And Trap, with that early third, with no Raven to really worry about, I mean, he should be sitting in a very comfortable position.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with, if we notice the way that he's using the Stalkers in the middle of the map, or well, Stalker singular, how he was using it in the middle of the map, forcing that siege up sort of in an awkward position with the Marines all clustered around those two tanks, just sort of making sure that they are not headed to his side of the map. And just now does Kier actually scan the third and realize, oh, look at that. Trap actually has a fully saturated third mineral line, whereas I don't even have my orbitals up and running just yet. So this is, I'd say that Trap has put himself into quite a pretty solid lead economic. Well, I'm not sure if one could call this a lead in this matchup, but overall, you know, Trap is in a very solid position economically.
Yeah, for sure, and not only economically, but upgrade-wise, he is currently sitting at 1-1, and he's getting 2-2 while the +1 just finished for Kier, so he is going to be behind. I don't think he even has a second engineering bay. Nope, it only looks like he's only working off of one engineering bay, so yeah, Trap is going to have some nice upgrade leads for his units here. Now, what tech is he going for? Because right now he only has gateway units. Okay, looks like he is throwing down that robotics bay, so he will be taking to either Colossus or Disruptors. I'm gonna imagine maybe Colossus, but it could very well be straight up into Disruptors, but we will see once that robotics bay has completed.
I agree. Now, we do see some of these charge lots coming home, some of them going towards the third, and it will actually be, I don't know, I feel like this could be a little bit dicey for Trap. We only see these gateway units up at the front. It is a lot of charge slots which will be able to take a lot of damage, but some of them are already being bled out by these concussive shells. We do see some pretty nice force fields. Also, on the other hand, an excellent pickup to sort of counter that, but we do see a lot of charge slots bleeding out. Stalker's not really being able to get in range to deal enough damage. We do see another huge warp in of Zealots at the same time as the first Colossus is about halfway done. So the shield battery overcharge is just now popped. Will this be enough for Trap to hold on? We do see yet another force field going down, prompting the bio to actually shove forward. This is looking really dicey. That warp-in was actually prevented because the pylon was taken out. Another successful warp-in, however. This, oh man, this looks like it's just gonna barely be a hold after 10 probes were sacrificed, pulled off the line. Wow.
Yeah, that actually quite looked quite dicey there, as you said. And now the important thing is that he does hold, right? He does hold. He still has that worker lead. He still has that base lead as well. Even though he lost all those probes, he can very well just chrono boost those probes out of the 4 nexuses and replenish those lost probes very quickly. He does now has his Colossus. Doesn't quite have that thermal lance yet, but at the very least it should allow him some nice little splash damage for this secondary big fight.
That's right. This Colossus is all of a sudden going to sort of change the paradigm of this fight, because instead of the Marines being the ones to sort of be in quote-unquote constant range of the Protoss and the Protoss having to back up while still being fired upon, it's going to turn into the Marines that are being fired upon constantly and the Colossi that are constantly sort of firing on the Marines. Now, we do see 2 of them now out on the field. Widowmines are set up quite aggressively, as well as a tank in the back, and this still looks quite dicey for our red Protoss player. Can he hold on? Looks like this is all that he has left. He does get a very nice wraparound on the tank with some charge lots from the back. It looks like the 2 Colossi will be taken out, and all that's left to take care of this are those gateway units. Now, it looks like the upgrades will come in clutch, and it will be enough for a constant warp-in to just be enough to take care of this Bioforce. But, man, this is such a back and forth in terms of, you know, just constant struggles.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think Trap would have loved to throw down a bunch of shield batteries here because this attack is still ongoing. I think Trap is going to stabilize just because, as you mentioned, those upgrades are so important. That 2-2 versus the 1-1 of Cure right now. And I think with the Thermal Lance finished now as well, that should give him a better defense here at home.
Very nice for Trap. He does, even though he's a little bit out of position, he did spot that the army completely rotated to the north. Now these charge lots are, okay, so the Widow Mines do actually fire off and do get some decent hits, but there is a shield battery up in here. Now, okay, I thought that was gonna be a setup for a Doom drop, but it looks like it was just to take care of that one I misspoke. It was a setup for a Doom drop. Now we do see a nice warp-in of Stalkers and charge lots up in the main, so they will be able to sort of make sure that that Doom drop does not happen. And I do like this a lot. We do actually see a Warp Prism with 4 charge lots loaded up and going down to the south side. So, you know, just sort of adding an extra dimension to this struggle. Because as a lot of StarCraft players probably have an idea or a sense of, sometimes it's not the main fight that matters the most. It's actually what's happening behind it, right? Speaking of which, this Doom drop still does have a lot of potential because it is not actually caught by Trap just yet.
Oh, but what is caught is that Warp Prism. Nice response by Kier. Takes that out. And that should bring some relief as he doesn't have to worry about those very annoying Warp Prism drop. But here we go. The Doom drop has commenced. That's going to force a recall of Trap. Does he have enough during this recall? Immediately the first Colossus gets sniped down. Second Colossus does escape. And Kier is going to have to back out as the rest of the units has come here to defend. But as I speak, there is another force here at the 4th base. Oh no!
Not like this. We see Trap just sort of being pulled apart by his opponent, being outmaneuvered as Kier does actually hit the 4th base at the same time, taking down 6 probes at that base, or 5 or 6, however many it was, making for a total of 17. What? Is there still... Look at that. We see the Doom drop from earlier still dealing damage in the main. Actually, some friendly fire going down on the medevac, funnily enough. That Dark Shrine scouted and taking some heavy damage. So, a lot of this damage that's going on, it may not look like Trap is suffering a lot because he still has a pretty sizable army. However, you can lose army and remake it. But if you lose workers, that's, you know, something else that you have to remake, and it's just not going to go well later on into the game. Now, we do see Disruptors out on the field. One of them did take down a couple of Ghosts, but this is kind of scary. We don't have those Colossi anymore. We don't have that sort of constant guaranteed damage, so I'm not too sure about this.
Well, looks like Kier is confident enough to push on forward, and really what the Trap has. I mean, he only has a bunch of gateway units. His Disruptors were sniped out in the middle of the map, so right now his tech is kind of been reset in terms of Colossus, in terms of Disruptors. No splash damage here for our red Protoss, and that kind of worries me. Yeah,
you need splash damage as the Protoss. You need splash damage in general against bio armies like this. Now, Ghosts are involved, making this a lot deadlier to the Protoss, and I'm just not too sure. You know, it's probably going to take 1 or 2 really good fights for Trap to sort of put himself back in the game, because he's a Protoss going up against a Terran, and he's down on supply. He's trying to make workers 14-15 minutes into the game. This is not looking too good for our red Protoss. Now, looks like this is a little bit of an awkward position. The blue Terran player is pushing forward towards the top north side of the map, and there's only 1 Disruptor to defend. Now, it does whiff. We do see a bit of an airball, good control on the bio. Huge amount of EMPs going down. Shield battery overcharge was popped just in time, but it won't matter because the bio is just going to shove right on forward. We do see the back sort of flank of Stalkers and Zealots, making sure that they clean up whatever is left on the low ground. But this is getting really, really, like every single time they engage, it's just sort of, I can't really say that it gets better for Trap, you know what I mean? Like, this is not looking too good.
Well, Trap does have a lot of bases left over, and he did actually manage to save that that third base right there. It was so close to being sniped down, and unfortunately, Kira did not focus fire on it. So now he does have Trap does have a very healthy amount of bases. The question is, does he have the army? And well, it looks like the army supply is actually heavily in favor of Trap because of that botch engagement from Kira earlier on. And now Trap is on the offense. Doesn't quite have enough yet on the south side of the map, but he does have a huge one at the top area, or a bunch of Stalkers and DTs. Kind of a weird army composition. He still needs to start producing some of those Disruptors and Colossus, though.
I was just about to say that earlier. It looked like Cure was not expecting his opponent to go for the same sort of strategy, in that, you know, we saw that Trap split his army up into two main prongs in the same way that Cure himself had done, right? Two main bio forces. But now it looks like both players have joined up both of their armies. Now it looks like these Stalkers and these Zealots are going to full-on engage the bio towards the south side. It's not going to be quite enough. Or actually, okay, so we do see Trap just going on forward. Like you said, his supply lead is going, sort of being exacerbated right now. This bio is bleeding out quite a bit. So these Stalkers are actually going to get full reign of the third, and Trap actually takes game number 1. Very impressive. Alright, so we do see Cure going for that quick engineering bay block, making sure that his opponent can't actually get down the Nexus. Oh, that SCV. Oh, okay, so it seems like 3 probes will be enough to catch it out on the field. The Nexus does go down after a little bit of a delay, but it still goes down before the Cybernetics core, so I don't know if that was worth it, especially considering the SCV did go down in that little bit of a skirmish. Now, it looks like Trap is going to try to see what he can do on his side, on the other side of the map as well. Oh, okay, all right. So it doesn't look like it's gonna put down a pylon or anything of that sort.
A little bit of a play on tag. It's like, tag, you're it. Tag, you're it. No, tag, you die.
It's a very sudden death. You know, I keep wondering, like in video games, especially in like first-person shooters and whatnot, it's like you have the same range of motion up until you have 0 health. You could have 1 health out of 100, but you would still have like full abilities and full range of motion. And it's kind of the same concept with StarCraft 2 units. Like they could have 1 health, but still function completely at 100% capacity. And then as soon as you cross that line, if you're a Terran Marine, you just like explode into a puddle of blood. Like, I just can't imagine that is actually logical in real life, but it's funny to think about sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you would imagine if like let's say someone is hurt or got shot at, and they're at like 1 life. You like, they should be walking a lot slower than this.
Yeah. And also the mechanic where Terran buildings below a certain health are burning, that realistically should be applied to every single thing in StarCraft.
Oh yeah, I mean, gateways should be burning, hatcheries should be burning. Oh
yeah, especially hatcheries. Yep.
Oh yeah, their acid should work kind of like gasoline, where they just like exacerbate the fire.
Yeah, that's right. A cute little skirmish. The Hellion does get a full scout off in the main. Did tag one of those probes, not quite able, or a few of those probes, not quite able to, get that damage done. Now, we do see Cure putting up that natural very soon, but also going for a quick third gas. Now, what do you think this indicates in this matchup, Snoopy?
I mean, we talk about, well, you know what? as I see the starport, I mean, he does have the tech lab. Maybe he can go for a banshee speed and just like fly around with a bunch of banshees. Although, not quite actually making banshees quite yet. Actually going for the raven first. So it looks like he is not going to go for the banshee tech, or I don't know. Maybe he can follow up with it afterwards. But seeing that he did open up with raven, I would imagine he's going to be switching that out. The in terms of the barracks that's being built right next to it. All right, looks like we kind of have a little bit of a standard opening here. Now Blink is done, I believe. Let's check that. Yep, looks like Blink is done, but Trap has not actually moved out yet. He's still, I think he's still still waiting for that like Widowmine drop or Hellion drop or some sort, or maybe a Banshee before moving out. Looks like he is starting to move out as he feels comfortable enough.
Yeah, we do also see that Observer just making sure that the Stalkers can, if they wanted to, you know, blink onto the high ground. Now, it will be important in spotting these Marines. Now, we do see a pretty aggressive blink up onto the high ground, that forcing that sieged up tank, as well as the second tank is in a little bit of danger, but those Stalkers are going to blink back down onto the low ground without taking another hit. Now, it looks like the follow-up is going to be Templar Archives as well as Charge. So, are we looking... I have a bad memory. Is this similar to the last game, or are we going to go into more of an ICA type of composition?
Yeah, I think we're going to a more of a High Templar, Charge Lot, Immortals type of composition. This is one of the kind of the more frequent build orders that has come out of Zest I've seen, where he immediately after scouting a bunch of tanks and Marines, he just goes for the Templar Archive to go for that fast storm tech, so that if there is a potential move out from the Terran, then he can use some of those storms in the War Prism and you know, storm those Marines and then get on top of the tanks with the rest of his ground army. And that's exactly what it seems like he is doing as he kind of anticipates his move out from Kira. Now, this is one of the maps where that third base has that rock area where the siege tank can siege behind. So Trap definitely wants to make sure not to have him like siege up right there. Actually, as I say that, actually he's going for a charge lot drop. He doesn't quite have the storm tech coming. He's going to rely on Archons instead.
Yeah, and of course, you know, while Archons do deal splash, it is not the kind of splash that we're looking for. Now, we do see a couple of decent force fields shaving off a chunk of those Marines. We see a lot of auto turrets being put down here. That Raven being sacrificed for the good of the Terran army. Now, finally, do we see those siege tanks sieged up as well as the Widowmine's burrow, but at the same time, we do see a semi-successful charge lot drop, getting 3 SCVs for the cost of 4 charge lots, as well as the Stalker charge lot Immortal army back home holding. So, I'm not too sure who came out of this on top. Now, the War Prism does get killed. That is actually kind of big, as it does stall out Immortal production for just a little bit. Storm is finally almost halfway done. So, I don't think there was too much economic damage there. So, overall damage so far has been very superficial, I would say.
Yeah, I think with him saving that their Nexus with relatively little damage in terms of probe or in terms of worker kills, and the fact that Kira doesn't have a third base yet, I think Trap is gonna start running away in terms of the economy. However, Kira is gonna go ahead and try for another push before that happens. Charge. Wait, is Charge done yet? Okay, he does have Charge.
Been done, yes.
Okay, good. Because those are Charge.
Storm just completed.
Oh, actually, yeah, that is going to be very helpful.
Shield battery overcharge is just popped. Ooh, an excellent... Oh, 2 excellent storms going down. A 3rd storm. Really, really nice storm so far. Now, all that's left are those Marauders and tanks, which easily get cleaned up by the charge lot. So, overall, quite a decisive hold by our red Protoss. I'm pretty impressed, honestly, because when you see Protoss on hold micro, you know that, you know, something needs to happen soon, right? Because that bio is just shooting away at the hold micro Protoss army. And it's like, what are we waiting for? And then you see that War Prism coming in, and then you see the High Templar dropping out of the War Prism, and all of a sudden, half the Terran army just gets shaved away. So I was quite impressed by that. Now, at the same time, we do see a Doom Drop coming down to the 4th base location en route to the main base location. Looks like Stalkers are going to be there just in time to catch it out. But yeah, like you said, Trap is definitely running away with the economic lead. We see that Cure, I was about to say Gumiho for a second, but Cure does not actually have a 3rd base up and running, only just now getting his 3rd command center about halfway done, and it's not even on location. Whereas Trap, on the other hand, has a 4th base that is almost up and running.
Yeah, and so Kira's going to have to make some magic work in order to kind of negate some of that economic disparity. He's trying to find openings, but Trap has just got such a nice defensive posture, leaving some units on the right side, leaving his main army in the left side, and also getting these spotter pylons to scout for any drops incoming. So yeah, he is set up well, really well, to defend these harassments of Kira.
At the same time, speaking of harass, we do see that Trap is going for a very, very big charge lot warp in, forcing the SCVs to actually be evacuated. And honestly, I feel like this might be a little bit underestimated, but when you do some sort of very comprehensive harass, such as this move, you actually get a really good scout off as well, right? So apparently Trap likes what he sees, and he's going to take down these rocks and move into position to try to, deal some damage. I like this move a lot. Now, it's going to hit before enhanced shockwaves are completed, and the first 2 ghosts are not popped out just yet. They will be popped out in time for the Terran to engage this Protoss army at the bottom of the ramp, but we do also see Liberators sieged up, so I don't think that Trap is going to want to force his way up that ramp anytime soon.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it's okay, because Trap, all he needs to do is just contain Kira as long as possible. Keep denying that Dirk base, maybe even take a 5th base right now. I mean, why not, right? Trap is so far ahead right now. He has that huge Immortal Archon Storm kind of army. And all he needs to do is just keep Kira contained here.
That's right. Speaking of Storm, he has excellent High Templar micro, getting off a couple of feedbacks as well as a Storm. Oh my gosh, even avoiding the EMPs from the Ghost by quickly picking up the High Templar. I think that was a bait, honestly. I think that was a High Templar bait. So we do see some micro battles that I didn't even know were possible. Even using the Archon to bait up a Widowmine shot, as well as a couple more Storms. Oh my gosh, Trap the Madman. Look at the supply counts. I think, like you said, this is completely fine, because he is just going to be able to charge up both ramps at the same time. More Storms going down. GG is called. Trap is going to take game number 2. We shall introduce our players, starting here in the bottom left corner of the map. Up 2-0 in this best of 5, placing him on match point. Playing as the red Protoss for the team of Afrika Freaks, it is Trap.
And spawning here at the bottom right, we got our blue Terran player, down 0-2, but looking for his first points on the scoreboard. Can he get it? It is Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Cure.
I looked at the minimap, and for a second I thought that Trap was going for a double gas play, and then I realized that the northern blip was actually just a gateway, and it was not a second gas.
Oh.
That would have been pretty insane to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a few things that could happen off of a 1 base 2 gas Protoss. This could be either like something like a proxy Stargate, like maybe proxy Void Rays, or it could be something like maybe a proxy Robo for like a mortal push. But we don't really see that as often as maybe the Void Ray proxy. But yeah, it looks like it's going to just be once again a standard opening.
Oh, skirmish, that probe getting a lot of damage in on that SCV, but that SCV is gonna, be called back up to the main. just in time, making sure that it is not going to be killed off by the probe.
Oh, just not being able to get it.
A
little bit of a Tom and Jerry chase right here.
Now, I'm wondering, why did we not see a Reaper? Is that because Kira wanted to get out a quicker reactor? I feel like that must be the case, right? Or at least a quicker factory? One or the other? One and or the other?
Yeah, I mean, usually we do see Terran players kind of skip the Reaper to go for the faster factory. But also, you know, on this map specifically, you know, kind of the jump zone for those Reaper is actually around the kind of the inhibitor zone, so it makes Reaper jumping in and out a little bit more difficult. So, you know, it's probably a bit more smarter just kind of skip the Reaper on this map specifically and just go for the faster factory.
Right. You know, okay, this is a random thought, but, you know, just looking at that factory and that reactor, I've seen against, especially against Zerg, a Terran will go Hellions with a Raven. That way they don't have to use the scans to clear away the creep tumors. What do you think about using that against Protoss? Using the Raven to maybe add in some DPS with the whatchamacallit, the auto turrets. But then, you know, it's like you're I'm not too sure about that, because Hellions by themselves, they can't really deal with Protoss units that well.
Yeah, maybe for like maybe a one big punch, and hopefully you can kind of damage the Protoss in the initial fight, much so that you can kind of start snowballing and overwhelm them. But yeah, usually maybe if they do open up with a Raven, I think they will probably tend to go for more of a backdoor, like auto turret into their main base while they attack the front or the third base, something like that. But you know, I have seen in the past like Terran players open up with a Raven, maybe go for some siege tanks and some Marines, and just like move across the map, and then try to go for like an anti-armor missile on top of the Protoss army.
Oh,
and
right,
it makes it really hard to get to engage in top of the tank Marine force.
Right. Well, in any case, that will not be what's happening here. We do see Kir following up with that very standard 3 barracks opener. His opponent, on the other hand, going for that third Nexus. We do see a Widowmine drop that has been already taken. Oh, very nice split on both. I'm sorry, I missed the one in the main, but, you know, pretty decent splits. Only 3 probes going down so far.
Yep, I apologize. I missed the first Widowmine drop. We did see a glance at the second one. Looks like only 3 probes going down, so not too much probes. Looks like Trap was able to respond in time. And I'm gonna go ahead and go for a little bit of his own harass. He does got a 5 Stalker force actually coming in here.
Oh, I like this. I like it in theory. Against that many Marines, I don't think it's gonna be able to. Oh, okay, so Trap has the same idea, just waiting. Oh, he does not have the same idea, so he's gonna pick off one Marauder, gonna try to pick off a second one. Oh, and gets it, and gets all of those Stalkers out. That's actually really good, because what is that total? That's like 200 minerals and 50 gas. That's actually pretty decent, I would say, for free. Wow.
Yeah. I'm actually a little bit surprised, because I was thinking like Trap was gonna go ahead and try to go for the mineral line.
Right.
You know, 4 Stalkers can one-shot one of those SCVs, and so I thought he was just gonna blink on top of the mineral lines, and then once the forces of Kira try to defend, he can just like blink away and just recall. We have seen some Protosters do that, but looks like he's just went elected to go for the Marauder. Oh no!
Oh. Oh man, the reaction time that you need to be able to, you know, correct yourself in those moments is just, it's amazing. Now that Observer is going to see that those medevacs have dropped on out, so the Stalkers are going to be headed on back home. Storm is complete actually, and we do see a couple of shield batteries as well, so I'm not too sure that this is going to get too much done. Stalkers are up in the front. They are going to get hit by concussive shells, but they will be blinked backwards. Now, we do see the High Templar I'm not sure if they... Okay, they do have energy. An excellent storm going down on a lot of the bio. We do see an immortal out and about. We do see shield battery overcharge popped as well. A pretty decent storm as well in the front, but this time Kier was actually ready for it. So we do see the Medivacs healing back up that army quite quickly. A pretty decent blink back, baiting out that Widowmine shot as well. So overall, I am not too optimistic about what Kier can do with this drop unless he rotates to another side, because as we do see, the Protoss army is growing, right? On the other hand, the Terran army, at least on this side of the map, is not growing. Kier is taking advantage of this by completing a third command center on site back at home. And I do like that move a lot, but as for this drop, it's going to take, you know, maybe some repositioning to get something done with it.
All right, here we go. Gonna go ahead and try to jump in here, but there's just too much High Templars and army on the ground here. Now, Trap is gonna go ahead and try to link onto this medevac, drop into the main. Does get both medevacs actually. That really helps in the defense. And nice cleanup here. Very nice cleanup with very minimal losses. 3 probes going down, but he is way ahead in the worker count, so for that to even matter.
Oh, I do like this drop at the third base of the Protoss, though. A pretty decent storm is going to force it all back, but these two... Oh! Okay, that is starting to hurt, right? We see 11 probes going down in total. We do see a bit of a desperation storm going down in the dead airspace, trying to see whatever damage it can do on those medevacs. So, in total, 11 probes have gone down, meaning that Trap doesn't actually have too far of a lead. He only leads by 4 probes, and as the Protoss, you want to be ahead by a little bit more than that, I would say, if you're going up against the Terran.
Yeah, I would say too. That defense started out really well, but unfortunately, in the end, Kier was able to find those probe damage. And once again, gonna go ahead and drop in here. And this time around, it's gonna be into the main base. Gotta pull those probes.
Oh, okay. Wow, 6 more probes going down to those 2 Widowmines. Kier making excellent use of his drops, taking advantage of the dead airspace. Now, funnily enough, the medevac that did just go down just now was the one in front and the one without any units, so Kier got off a little bit easy there. But yeah, as long as Kier continues taking advantage of the way that he's, you know, limiting Trap, keeping him at home, and also costing Trap a bunch of probes, I think that this is going to be the path to victory for our blue Terran.
Looks like Trap trying to add some more static defenses with those cannons to help defend. But this is quite annoying for Trap to have to, like, you know, spread his army just like between bases as well. And this gold base, one of the reasons why this gold base is so difficult is because, like you can see, Kier can't attack on that backside. It makes it quite annoying.
Alright, now we do see a storm drop going down on the other side of the map, so actually does get 8 SCVs. Kier a little bit unprepared for that. You know, Trap sort of giving him a taste of his own medicine, if you will. But now we do see the main Protoss, the main Terran force with ghosts and a lot of high energy ghosts at that. You know, making sure that the 4th gold base for the Protoss doesn't go up uncontested. Now we do see the drop on the other side of the map with the War Prism not being able to deal too much damage, but both players are taking excellent advantage of the dead airspace so far. Now we do see a bit of a whiff on the first EMP, but the second EMP does go down. Will it be enough, however? We do see a stream of charge lots going forward. Now, the bio is going to successfully cut it back just for a little bit. We do see a couple of pretty decent storms going down, but at the cost of the energy on those 2 High Templar. So, this is hard to say. Now that the Terran is reinforcing, Protoss needs to be able to hold at the top of the ramp. Excellent, excellent EMP. Oh man, Snoopy, I don't think that could have been an even better EMP. Shield battery is now popped, and all of a sudden, I am not too sure about this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why Protoss is load those High Templars into the War Prism is to ignore or start to escape these EMPs, and unfortunately, the War Prism is across the map, not in this main army, and so he does suffer a very extremely well placed EMP. And but it looks like he does at least hold on. He did have the shield battery at home. He did have the better reinforcement, defensive reinforcement area. So he will be able to stabilize for now. And all in all, he's still not doing too shabby. I mean, he is a little bit behind the worker, but I mean, his army count is actually pretty good. And if he can add in those other additional splash damage, those additional AOE damage units like the Colossus, like those disruptors, to go along with that storm, it makes it much harder for Kira to face up a one-on-one in a straight-up battle.
Yeah, I am totally with you about that. The core of the Protoss needs to be splash, right? You need to have enough splash, and oftentimes that means multiple forms of splash. But I'm just a little bit concerned because we do see a pretty significant upgrade lead window for our Terran player. They are up on I believe 2-1, something like that. But the Protoss only has +1/+1. Now, immediately we do see a good set of EMPs. Those disruptors are going to try and shave off some of that bio. At the same time, we do see some charge blast trying to make some damage, trying to deal some damage up at the natural. Not quite able to get it, but yeah. Now it looks like these disruptors were what allowed the Protoss army to continue pushing forward after the EMPs, right? The Colossi had their shields stripped, but at the same time, the High Templar, some of them did take some EMPs, but those disruptors are not affected by EMPs, allowing the Protoss to continue engaging. Now, we also do see what I like to call a safety Dark Shrine. You always need that as a macro Protoss player, in my opinion.
Man, imagine if Terran had recall. He could have recall all these medevacs back at home.
Yeah, instead, 3 Stalkers will apparently be enough to keep them stuck in that corner. Wow, that's actually pretty good, right? Considering how much supply is tied up in those. Oh, but they are actually just gonna. Wow, those 3 Stalkers were able to get a second medevac and cost quite a little bit of supply before they went down to the bio.
Alright, looks like a little bit of a cat and mouse game, trying to chase down those medevacs. Looks like both of them will escape in time, will consolidate with their main force. But here we go, disruptor hits.
Okay, the first couple just sort of whiff. You know, both players are sort of testing the waters. At the same time, the main Colossus force is going to be up on the high ground. And excellent storms. Absolutely baiting the Terran force up the ramp. And now look, the disruptors are back to finish off what's left of the bio. An excellent engagement by the red Protoss player. Wow, that was amazing. That is how you use Storm. You want to be able to force the Terran into the Storm, into a position that they can't really get out of. And in that case, it meant that the Terran needed to go up the ramp. And GG is called. Trap takes this best of 5 series in dominating fashion.